A sound wave is a periodic wave. That is, every so often, let's call that the period, the sound wave is going to have an identical pattern which is going to keep repeating. The amplitude of the sound wave is the intensity of the wave, so therefore stronger sounds have bigger amplitudes. That means that physically, in the propagation stage, they are going to have much greater pressure intensities between the high pressure peaks of the sound wave and the low pressure peaks. That in turn is when it's converted into its electrical energy through the microphone and the preamplifier. We're going to get a much bigger voltage between the top and the bottom of that particular waveform. That waveform, as we said, is a continually repeating waveform. Let's just think about the very simplest one of those, which is a sine wave. So a sine wave is a waveform which repeats by increasing, goes up to a peak at 90 degrees, falls down to 0 at 180 degrees, goes down to its negative peak at 270 degrees, and then finally returns to 0 at 360 degrees, and then the whole process starts all over again. That is one wavelength. Now we think of it as a sine wave, but of course what is the sine wave? The sine wave is the wave which is produced if we were to apply an oscilloscope at the electrical stage. In terms of the sound being propagated, what we actually have is a propagation where the intensity is increasing up to a peak, reducing down to 0, and then the sound particle, the particles of the medium are opening out, that is they're reducing in down to their lowest pressure, and then finally returning back to their original state at the end of that one cycle, i.e. the 360 degrees. So that is our one cycle, or our one period. So the period is the time it takes to go from start all the way through to the maximum, down to the negative minimum, and all the way back through to the starting point. So that is the period of our waveform.